Today is Friday, September 29th. It's looking more and more like parts of the government will have to stop operating in just a couple of days. What lawmakers are doing now with a government shutdown right around the corner. And the reason vital funding is soon running out for some childcare centers that has nothing to do with the shutdown. Plus, why the U.S. is about to be without any panda bears for the first time in decades. What Netflix is doing to mark the official end of the DVD era at the company. And it's National Coffee Day, the type of deals you can find all around the country today. Those stories and more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Time is running out to avoid a government shutdown. Congress has until the end of the day tomorrow to make a deal. And at this point, lawmakers are working separately, moving forward with their own plans without a lot of compromising. The Democrat-led Senate has moved forward on a short-term funding measure that includes Ukraine aid and disaster funding. Meanwhile, the Republican-led House is reportedly planning to consider a different short-term measure today that includes billions of dollars in spending cuts. It does not include aid for Ukraine or U.S. disasters, but instead has more funding for border enforcement. Still, some hardline conservatives are promising not to support any deal that's only short-term. Government agencies already started sending out official notices yesterday, warning their workers of a likely shutdown and how they plan to handle it. In fact, the Union for the U.S. Capitol Police even warned members it thinks the shutdown could last 2 to 4 weeks. A shutdown means fewer services available, like government benefit payments, health inspections, national parks, and more. And no paychecks for millions of federal workers, at least not for a while. They are guaranteed back pay after the shutdown ends, though it's worth noting, lawmakers will keep getting paid the whole time. By the way, in tomorrow's special edition episode, we are talking more about this potential shutdown and the bigger picture of why these shutdowns, or at least the 11th hour deals, seem to be happening year after year. That's in your podcast feed tomorrow morning. There are actually other concerns over government money, separate from the impending shutdown. Some financial relief that many have come to rely on since the pandemic is expiring. For example, funding that's helped more than 220,000 childcare centers over the last couple of years. Well, that's set to expire tomorrow. And now some forecasts say as many as 70,000 childcare centers could be at risk of closing, with as many as 3.2 million American children losing their spots. Even some facilities that plan to stay open say the only way they'll be able to do so is to raise tuition, which could then price out even more families. Already, childcare has become more expensive for families than college tuition in more than half of all states. A nonpartisan think tank called the Century Foundation says once funding expires, millions of parents might not be able to keep working, and that it could ultimately cost more than $1 billion in lost earnings every year. One more change we want to mention, the COVID-era pause on student loan payments is about to end this weekend too. Those payments have been on pause since the early days of the pandemic. But now, payments really are going to be due again in October. And the Education Department says that's the case even if the government shuts down. Some borrowers have already received their bills and interest has already started accruing again. Remember earlier this week, we told you there was backlash over a change in the Senate dress code. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer decided to stop enforcing the rules just a few days ago, letting senators dress casually on the floor of the chamber. It seems that did not go over well, with a lot of members calling it disrespectful. So yesterday, senators passed a formal dress code. For men, that means a coat, tie, and long pants. So no more of Senator John Fetterman's trademark hoodies and gym shorts. Though the new dress code doesn't include any specific requirements for women. It's considered the latest consequence of tensions between the U.S. and China. Pretty soon, the U.S. won't be home to a single panda for the first time since 1972. The U.S. has essentially been renting the pandas for about $1 million a year, which has been seen as a gesture of goodwill between the U.S. and China. But the loan agreements are now expiring, and American zoos have not been able to renew them. So pandas are being returned to China, even the ones that were born here in the U.S. Some have actually already been sent back. The 3 pandas left at Washington, D.C.'s National Zoo are next, followed by the 4 pandas in Atlanta next year. Right now, the National Zoo in D.C. is holding a Pandapalooza to celebrate the animals before they leave. All that said, both the U.S. and China have left the door open for a possible panda return in the future. We have more news for you coming up. But first, I want to let you know about our sponsor, Trust and Will. I've had a lot of big life milestones lately, from having our child a couple years ago to recently buying a home. And while these things bring us so much joy, they also made me realize we need to do more to secure our future and our child's future. And Trust and Will made this process so easy. My husband and I recently sat down to put together our first will, and I was surprised by how simple yet thorough the process with Trust and Will was. We really liked the guided format. In fact, it only took us about 20 minutes from home, 20 minutes to have peace of mind for years to come. Each will or trust is crafted to be state-specific and customized to your specific needs. Everything from care wishes to nominating guardians for our child, power of attorney, and more. It also ensures that we've now prepared and organized our documents in one place. Of course, bank-level encryption is also appreciated. So gain peace of mind today with Trust and Will. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/newsworthy. That's 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. Some workers in both California and New York City are about to get a pay raise. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law that gives fast food workers a minimum wage of $20 an hour and gives them more say in setting workplace standards. And that's a big difference from most fast food workers in the U.S. The median wage around the country in 2022 was just over $13 an hour. California's new law takes effect in April for workers at restaurants that have at least 60 locations nationwide. Meanwhile, in New York City, companies like Uber, DoorDash, and Grubhub will have to raise pay for food delivery workers. A new law forces tech companies to pay gig workers about $18 an hour starting in a couple of days. And they'll have to increase that amount to $20 an hour by 2025, up from $11 an hour now. Originally, this increase was supposed to start in July, but legal challenges delayed it. Well, this week, a judge ruled against the companies, so the first pay raise is set to go into effect on October 1st, unless there's another appeal. Electric car maker Tesla is now facing a serious lawsuit from the U.S. government. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission sued the company, accusing it of tolerating racism against Black employees and retaliating against those who spoke up. Some of the specific allegations include non-Black managers and coworkers addressing their Black colleagues by calling them racial slurs or making monkey noises. It says graffiti was commonly found that included the N-word, swastikas, nooses, and more. And that when people would raise concerns, they would be disciplined, transferred, or fired. The EEOC says it happened across all shifts, departments, and positions at a California factory that employs more than 20,000 people. So the commission wants the workers to receive compensation and for the court to force Tesla to come up with policies to make sure these kinds of things don't keep happening. So far, no comment from Tesla or CEO Elon Musk about the latest suit. But in the past, Tesla has said it, quote, strongly opposes all forms of discrimination and harassment, and that it has disciplined workers who have acted counter to that. CEO Elon Musk has also said before that he prefers to see legal disputes through to trial. So that could come next. Football fans who want to get their fill during the NFL offseason will no longer have to choose between the two spring leagues. The XFL and USFL announced they plan to merge and begin play together next year. For now, the XFL is owned by movie star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, while the USFL is under the ownership of Fox Corporation. They each have 8 teams and deals with separate broadcast networks. The leagues say the merger will, quote, establish best-in-class operations, assuming they get through the regulatory hurdles. But they haven't said much else so far, just that more details will be announced later. Netflix has sent out its very last red envelope. The company mailed its last batch of DVDs today, ending the part of its business that started it all 25 years ago, long before it became the streaming behemoth that changed the entertainment industry forever. Of course, the DVD service has been shrinking quite a bit in the shadow of Netflix's streaming service. These days, fewer than 1 million people still subscribe to the DVD service, down from more than 20 million at its peak. But the last loyal DVD subscribers are getting rewarded for their business. They'll get to keep the final discs that land in their mailboxes. And some have even gotten up to 10 more discs as a going-away present. Now, Netflix plans to donate a portion of the DVDs left to organizations focused on film and media, and the rest will be recycled. Today's the day to pour, brew, steam, and enjoy your coffee or coffee drink. It's National Coffee Day. And if you don't want to make your own, you can also get some deals on the go. For example, Dunkin' is offering a free coffee with any purchase today, and Krispy Kreme is giving customers a free coffee or espresso-based drink, no purchase necessary. Also, Keurig is hosting a National Coffee Day sweepstakes on Instagram. Beanbox.com will offer a free 12-ounce bag of coffee with any purchase, and there are many, many more deals out there from national chains and local coffee shops. So for any coffee lovers out there, go ahead and treat yourself. That's it for the main news today, but now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break for our sponsor, Nutrafol. I've actually been using Nutrafol for almost 2 years now. I'm sure a lot of moms listening can relate to the fact that I started noticing changes in my hair after giving birth. But then a good friend, as well as my personal dermatologist, recommended Nutrafol. I was so excited to know there was an option I could actually take postpartum, and that is physician-formulated using drug-free, science-backed ingredients so you get the most reliable results. And because I later did actually notice visibly thicker, healthier hair after using Nutrafol, I've continued to take it. No matter your life stage, Nutrafol has 4 unique formulas to support women. You can find out what type of Nutrafol products are best for you really easily on their website. Simply take their Hair Health Wellness Quiz, and you'll get a personalized plan for better hair growth through their whole body health approach. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering the Newsworthy listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Newsworthy. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com with the promo code Newsworthy. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Newsworthy. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. So you've probably heard of seeing eye dogs, police dogs, medical alert dogs, and so on. But how about conservation dogs? An organization called Working Dogs for Conservation is taking dogs who were once abandoned and training them to save the planet. Each dog in the pack has a different combination of duties and scents they're trained to find. They do things like spot invasive species, monitor endangered species, and help identify contaminants in the environment. Some also work to end wildlife trafficking by detecting poisons, snares, ivory, rhino horn, and more. And that's just to name a few of their skills. But they're not just workers. The Working Dogs for Conservation group says after their jobs are done each day, each of the dogs goes to a safe, loving home, complete with toys and treats. And that's extra special since nearly all dogs in the pack have been rescued from shelters. And others were found wandering the streets. Now their handlers say they show up to work, tails wagging, happy to help. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode about government shutdowns. And then we're in your podcast feed on Sunday as well with a bonus episode in honor of International Podcast Day this weekend. And of course, we'll be back Monday with your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend.